The importance of the power of habit. Habits shape our lives more than almost anything else. From the moment we wake up and brush our teeth, to the way we work, eat, exercise, spend money, or even interact with others, much of what we do every day runs on autopilot. Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit, first published in 2012, is a groundbreaking exploration of why habits exist, how they work, and, most importantly, how we can change them. Why is this book so important? Because it reveals a truth many people overlook. Your habits are your destiny. Success and failure are rarely determined by single dramatic events. They are the result of small, repeated actions, day after day. The routines you follow, often without even noticing, determine whether you live with health or disease, wealth or debt, happiness or frustration. Most people think change requires massive willpower or sudden breakthroughs. Duhigg shows that real change comes from understanding the science of habit formation. At the core is what he calls the habit loop: cue right pointing arrow, routine right pointing arrow, reward. Once you understand this loop, you can reprogram almost any habit, breaking destructive patterns and creating new, empowering ones. This makes the book incredibly practical. It's not just about theory, it's about application. Want to stop smoking, lose weight, become more productive at work, build stronger relationships? The key is to master the mechanics of habits. Duhigg provides strategies drawn from neuroscience, psychology, and case studies to help you do exactly that. Another reason this book matters is its wide reach. It's not only about personal habits like exercising or eating better. Duhigg shows how habits drive organizations, companies, and even societies. From Starbucks customer service training to the success of Alcoa under Paul O'Neill's leadership. He demonstrates how habits can transform not only individuals but entire institutions. For the average reader, this book is empowering because it shifts the way we see ourselves. If you've ever felt stuck, repeating the same mistakes, making promises to change but falling back into old routines, The Power of Habit shows that it's not because you're weak or broken. It's because habits are powerful forces wired into your brain. And once you understand how they work, you gain the ability to reshape them. In today's world of distraction, stress, and constant busyness, this book is more relevant than ever. Technology, advertising, and social media all compete to shape our habits, often in ways that don't serve us. By becoming conscious of the habit loop, we take back control. Instead of being victims of unconscious routines, we can become designers of our destiny. Ultimately, the importance of this book lies in its central message: change is possible. And it starts with your habits. If you change your habits, you change your life. That's why millions continue to read, study, and apply The Power of Habit. It is not just a book about behavior, it is a manual for transformation. Who is Charles Duhigg? To appreciate The Power of Habit, it helps to understand the man who wrote it, Charles Duhigg. Unlike some self-help authors who come primarily from coaching or motivational speaking, Duhigg is a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist with a gift for uncovering the hidden forces that shape our lives. His work combines investigative reporting with a deep interest in psychology, neuroscience, and business. Born in 1974, Duhigg grew up in New Mexico before attending Yale University, where he earned a degree in history. Later, he went on to Harvard Business School for an MBA. This combination, an understanding of history, human behavior, and business, gave him a unique lens through which to view the patterns of human life. He began his career as a journalist and eventually joined the New York Times. It was there that he started writing about habits, productivity, and decision-making. His ability to weave compelling narratives with scientific research quickly earned him recognition. He has since contributed to The New Yorker, The Atlantic, and other leading publications, and has spoken widely on behavior change and leadership. In 2013, Duhigg was part of a team of journalists at the New York Times who won the Pulitzer Prize for explanatory reporting for a series on Apple's business practices. His work is characterized by thorough research, clear storytelling, and an ability to connect big ideas with everyday life. But what sets Duhigg apart as the author of The Power of Habit is his curiosity. He wasn't satisfied with simply observing human behavior. He wanted to understand why people do what they do. Why do some people manage to change habits successfully while others fail? Why do some companies thrive while others collapse under the weight of destructive routines? His investigation led him into the worlds of neuroscience, psychology, and corporate culture, and eventually to the book that would change millions of lives. Duhigg's philosophy is pragmatic. He doesn't preach from a stage, he investigates, analyzes, and explains. His approach to habits is grounded in science, but also in real stories. He tells us about Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps, who succeeded because of his habit-based routines. He describes how Target used customer data to predict pregnancies before women even announced them. He explains how a company like Alcoa transformed itself by focusing on one keystone habit: worker safety. By blending storytelling with science, Duhigg makes complex psychology accessible to ordinary readers. He shows that habits are not mysterious forces beyond our control, they are understandable, predictable, and changeable. Since publishing The Power of Habit in 2012, Duhigg has continued exploring the science of human behavior. His second book, Smarter, Faster, Better, 2016, focuses on the science of productivity and decision-making. Both works reinforce his larger mission: to uncover the hidden mechanisms that shape human lives and to share insights that empower people to change. At his core, Charles Duhigg is not just a writer, he is a translator of science into action. He takes what researchers discover in labs and what companies learn in boardrooms, and he turns those lessons into practical insights for readers. His belief is that knowledge should not stay in academic journals, it should help people live better, healthier, more effective lives. When you read The Power of Habit, you are experiencing that philosophy in action. You're not just learning about neurons and psychology, you're learning how to quit smoking, exercise consistently, build better teams, and reshape entire organizations. That's Duhigg's genius. He takes science and makes it personal, powerful, and practical. The purpose of The Power of Habit. Every book begins with a central question it seeks to answer. For Charles Duhigg, the question was, why do we do what we do? Why do some people break destructive patterns and transform their lives, while others remain trapped in the same cycles? Why do some organizations thrive while others crumble, even when they have similar resources? Duhigg realized the answer lies in habits, the invisible routines that shape nearly every aspect of our daily lives. Most of us believe that success comes from discipline or willpower, but science shows that our brains rely heavily on automated patterns. Up to 40% of what we do every day is habit, not conscious decision-making. That means our lives are largely the product of routines we barely notice. The purpose of The Power of Habit is to reveal the science behind these patterns and, more importantly, to show readers how to change them. Duhigg doesn't just describe habits, he explains how they form, how they can be reshaped, and how individuals, companies, and even societies can harness their power for transformation. At the heart of the book is the concept of the habit loop. Cue, a trigger that starts the behavior. Routine, the behavior itself. Reward, the benefit that reinforces the behavior. Duhigg's purpose was to show that by diagnosing and altering the loop, anyone can change their habits. For example, if you eat a cookie every afternoon, the cue might be boredom. The routine is walking to the cafeteria, and the reward is a burst of pleasure. By keeping the cue and reward but changing the routine, taking a walk or chatting with a coworker instead, you can rewire the habit. The book also seeks to empower people who feel stuck. Many think bad habits are signs of weakness, but Duhigg emphasizes that they are simply patterns the brain has learned. That means they can be unlearned and replaced. This perspective transforms change from something overwhelming into something achievable. Beyond individuals, Duhigg wanted to show that habits drive organizations. Companies succeed when they understand the routines that govern employees and customers. Alcoa, for example, turned itself around by focusing on one keystone habit: worker safety. Starbucks built a culture of customer service by instilling habits of willpower and courtesy in baristas. Habits are not just personal, they are collective forces that shape culture. Finally, Duhigg's purpose extends to societies. Movements like the civil rights struggle or the rise of modern consumer culture are built on habits of communities. By understanding this, we see that habits are not only private battles but also public ones. In short, the purpose of the power of habit is threefold: to demystify habits by explaining the science behind them, to equip readers with tools to change their personal habits, to inspire leaders to harness habits to transform organizations and even societies. Duhigg's ultimate message is hopeful. You are not a prisoner of your habits. You have the power to redesign them. And if you can change a habit, you can change your life. The key lessons, how to apply them, and real-life illustrations. 1. The habit loop. Cue, right pointing arrow, routine, right pointing arrow, reward. The lesson. At the center of Duhigg's book is the habit loop. Every habit has 3 parts. Cue, the trigger that sets it in motion. Routine, the behavior itself. Reward, the benefit your brain gets, which reinforces the habit. Habits stick because the brain starts craving the reward. Once this loop is ingrained, it runs automatically. How to apply. Identify the cue that sparks your habit, time of day, emotional state, place, or people. Recognize the reward you're really seeking, pleasure, relief, distraction, connection. Keep the cue and reward the same, but change the routine to something healthier. Example. Duhigg shared his own habit of buying a cookie every afternoon. The cue was a slump in energy. The reward was social interaction with colleagues. Once he realized this, he replaced the cookie run with a quick chat, and broke the habit. 2. Keystone habits. Small shifts. Big impact. The lesson. Not all habits are equal. Some are keystone habits, habits that create ripple effects across your life. For example, exercising regularly often leads to eating better, sleeping better, and even being more productive at work. How to apply. Identify one habit that influences many others. Exercise. Daily planning. Family dinner. Start small, 5 minutes of jogging. Writing down tomorrow's tasks before bed. Or eating one healthy meal. Let the ripple effects build momentum. Example. When Paul O'Neill became CEO of Alcoa, he focused solely on worker safety. Many thought this was trivial, but the new safety habit required better communication, improved processes, and stronger teamwork, transforming the entire company and skyrocketing profits. 3. The golden rule of habit change. The lesson. Habits can't simply be erased, they must be replaced. The golden rule is keep the cue and reward, but change the routine. How to apply. If stress leads you to smoke for relief, keep the cue, stress, and reward, relaxation, but change the routine, deep breathing, stretching, journaling. Use substitution instead of elimination. Example. Bill Wilson, founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, understood this. Doesn't remove the cue, stress or loneliness, or the reward, relief, belonging. Instead, it changes the routine, replacing drinking with meetings, prayer, and community support. 4. Willpower. The master habit. The lesson. Willpower is like a muscle, it can be strengthened through practice. But it also gets tired if overused. Duhigg shows that people who build habits of willpower, self-control, perform better in all areas of life. How to apply. Train willpower gradually. Start with small challenges, avoiding junk food one day, saving a little money. Build routines that conserve willpower, plan meals, prep gym clothes in advance. Connect willpower to purpose. People persist longer when tied to a meaningful goal. Example. Starbucks trains employees with scripts for handling angry customers. By turning stressful encounters into predictable routines, baristas conserve willpower and consistently deliver good service. 5. The role of belief. The lesson. Habits change more easily when supported by belief. It's not enough to replace a routine, you must believe change is possible. Often, belief grows strongest in community. How to apply. Surround yourself with people who reinforce your new habits. Join a group, fitness class, support group, mastermind. Use affirmations and visualization to strengthen belief. Example. Many A members succeed because they are not alone. The belief that, together we can do this, helps them sustain the habit change. Similarly, Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps visualized success daily, reinforcing belief in his routines until victory became inevitable. 6. Habits in organizations. The lesson: companies have habits too, routines that shape culture. By changing keystone habits at the organizational level, leaders can transform entire companies. How to apply: diagnose destructive routines, inefficient meetings, poor communication. Focus on one keystone habit that will influence others: safety, transparency, customer service. Reinforce the new habit with leadership commitment and rewards. Example: at Alcoa, Paul O'Neill's safety habit changed communication and accountability company-wide. At Starbucks, habits of willpower and courtesy became part of training, shaping customer experience globally. 7. Habits of societies. The lesson: habits don't just shape people and organizations, they shape societies. Social movements succeed when they change collective habits. How to apply: to drive change, identify existing habits in a community. Attach new routines to old cues and rewards. Build networks that reinforce belief and shared identity. Example: the civil rights movement gained momentum through church networks and community routines. Rosa Parks' arrest became a cue that mobilized existing social habits, sparking collective action. Pulling it all together, Charles Duhigg's central message is clear: habits are not destiny. They are patterns, and patterns can be reshaped. Use the habit loop to diagnose your routines. Focus on keystone habits for maximum impact. Apply the golden rule of habit change: same cue and reward. New routine: strengthen willpower as a keystone habit. Build belief through community and vision. Apply these principles not just to yourself, but to organizations and even societies. When you change your habits, you change your life. And when enough people change, the world changes too. The final takeaway and inspirational message: when you finish The Power of Habit, you come away with more than just knowledge. You come away with a new lens for seeing life. Charles Duhigg's message is both humbling and empowering. We are creatures of habit. But we are not prisoners of habit. Habits run much of our daily existence. They determine what we eat, how we spend, how we respond to stress, how we interact with others. Left unconscious, habits can chain us to mediocrity, addiction, or frustration. But when we bring them into the light, when we understand the cue, routine, and reward, we gain the power to reshape them. The ultimate takeaway is this: small changes in habits lead to massive changes in life. Replace one destructive routine, and your health begins to improve. Develop one keystone habit, and your confidence spills over into work, family, and finances. Strengthen one routine of willpower, and suddenly you find the courage to tackle bigger goals. Duhigg also reminds us that transformation is not just personal, it's collective. Families, organizations, and societies are built on shared habits. By shifting those, leaders can spark revolutions, companies can thrive, and communities can grow stronger. Change begins with individuals, but it doesn't stop there. And here's the hope-filled truth: habits are never fixed. No matter how long you've lived with a bad pattern, no matter how many times you've failed to change, you can begin again. With awareness, belief, and consistent practice, any habit can be reshaped. So, what does this mean for you? It means you don't need to wait for a perfect moment to change. You don't need more willpower than anyone else. You simply need to start small. Start consciously, and start today. Identify one habit that holds you back. Diagnose its cue, routine, and reward. Replace the routine with something that serves you. Reinforce it daily until it becomes automatic. Do this again and again, and you will watch your life transform, not through sudden leaps, but through steady, compounding growth. The final inspirational message is this: your future is hidden in your habits. Every great achievement, every strong relationship, every healthy body, every thriving business, they are all built not on single acts of will, but on consistent habits. If you master your habits, you master your destiny. So don't underestimate the small routines of your day. They are not small at all. They are the building blocks of the life you will live. Shape them with intention, and you awaken not just the power of habit, but the power of your best self. The final inspirational message is this: your future is hidden in your habits. Every great achievement, every strong relationship, every healthy body, every thriving business, they are all built not on single acts of will, but on consistent habits. If you master your habits, you master your destiny. So don't underestimate the small routines of your day. They are not small at all. They are the building blocks of the life you will live. Shape them with intention, and you awaken not just the power of habit, but the power of your best self. Sparkles, and remember, every single day is a chance to rewrite your story. Every choice, every action, every habit is a step toward the life you were meant to live. Keep moving forward, keep growing, and keep choosing greatness. Right finger if this message inspired you. Don't forget to subscribe to Awaken Greatness for more life-changing lessons. And share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear which habit you're committed to changing today. Your comment might inspire someone else to take their first step too.